Tomorrow is National Fentanyl Awareness Day, and tonight we're hearing from the DEA about a big effort to target two cartels based in Mexico that are operating in the U.S. Operation Last Mile was a year-long nationwide operation that resulted in the seizure of 91 pounds of fentanyl powder and more than 500,000 fake pills here in Florida. Enough deadly doses, the DEA says, to kill 2.6 million people.
No pill that you would encounter other than the one that is coming directly from your doctor is safe. No pill on social media is safe, or that you may get through an acquaintance or a friend is safe.
Tonight, a warning about a drug being mixed with fentanyl, making it even more deadly. On the street, it's known as Trank, Philly dope, and zombie drug. In the lab, it's xylazine. Whatever you call it, it's a name you should know. Now the 6th most frequently present drug found in Florida drug seizures. Designed as a horse and cattle tranquilizer, it's increasingly found cut into street drugs with lethal results. So dangerous that just a few weeks ago, the White House made a historic move and designated fentanyl combined with xylazine an emerging threat to the United States. Here in Northeast Florida, where the threat is just beginning to be noticed, we're investigating why in a landscape of lethal drugs, xylazine is a special cause for concern.
I didn't take any pictures of my dad. I didn't know he was going to leave. If I would have known he was going to go so soon, I would have took all the pictures. Every time I seen him, I would have took a picture.
Tyler Johnson only has a few pictures to remember his father by.
This was my dad before addiction, when he was happily married to my mom.
Last September, he was at work when he got the call that his father, Scott Johnson, had died of a drug overdose. He was 48. Now, this is all he has left.
I'd much rather him be here than be in this jar, for sure. And I blame drugs for it, because if they didn't exist, he'd still be here. I didn't know anything about xylazine. I didn't even know it existed until you told me.
It wasn't until we showed Johnson the medical examiner's report that he learned the deadly drug cocktail that killed his dad.
It makes me pretty mad. As if fentanyl wasn't bad enough, now there's another one out there that's killing people.
Johnson's death was ruled accidental due to toxic levels of fentanyl and xylazine. According to records we obtained from the medical examiner's office, since 2019, more than 140 people have died from xylazine in combination with fentanyl and often other drugs too. And xylazine showed up in toxicology reports of 315 people in total. The youngest, a stillborn baby. The oldest, 69.
You have fentanyl, which could quickly knock the breathing out, and actually xylazine, which is a sedative, also affects your breathing. The two together is kind of like a perfect storm.
While Narcan can often revive patients who overdose on heroin or fentanyl, addiction psychiatrist Dr. Lanty Jornby says it doesn't work on xylazine because it's a sedative, not an opioid.
And what I think the drug dealers are doing is they're putting xylazine into the supply to make people addicted faster, to give them a better high so they come back, so they have return customers.
The corrosive effects go beyond addiction and the risk of death. Trank injections can create deep, festering wounds.
That's kind of one of the hallmarks of xylazine. If you are using xylazine, you're injecting it, a lot of people develop burns or what look like burns and infections in their skin. Sometimes they need amputations. It gets that bad.
From 2020 to 2021, the DEA reported the largest increase in xylazine-positive overdose deaths was in the South. The number surged 1,100%. In March, the DEA issued a public safety alert warning about xylazine, saying it was in about 23% of fentanyl powder and 7% of fentanyl pills seized by the agency last year.
That fentanyl is dangerous. Now we have doubled the amount of threat here by adding xylazine.
Assistant Chief Edwin Cayenne with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says xylazine is used as a cheap cutting agent to stretch the drug actually being sold.
What we're starting to do here with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is we're beginning to track those numbers, and at the completion of 2023, we'll be able to give an accurate number as how much xylazine has played an effect in these deaths.
While some users are intentionally seeking it, many are unaware of what they're getting.
If Narcan cannot override that, what you're going to have is an increase in the number of deaths that we're seeing.
Those numbers now include Tyler Johnson's dad.
I know the pain that it caused me, and I don't want that pain or anybody else to feel that pain. If I can help it, if I can help raise awareness or change somebody's mind that's selling the stuff, then that's what I want to do.
Now, xylazine is illegal to possess or sell in Florida, but it is not a federally controlled substance. In response to the White House designating fentanyl combined with xylazine an emerging threat, a national response plan will be published by mid-July. And if you have a drug poisoning emergency, you can call the Florida Poison Control Center's helpline, 1-800-222-1222. If the person's not breathing, if they're unconscious or having a seizure, call 911.